All right, guys. We are jumping in on this here tier list. Now I can't record because then the OBS is gonna act up. You guys are gonna get the freeze, so we'll see. But I got my boy Sol and Flossin, both content creators for Zenless Zone Zero with me. One's black, one's white. Don't know why that matters, but it is what it is. Anyhow, so
no.
anyhow,
you
know,
you gotta fight back, man.
that's what I'm saying. We have shout out to my boy Tudzy, by the way, for being able to make this quick tier list so that we can do this on stream. I hate the way the tier maker has their tier list because you can't actually separate anything. And so there's no real indication of what's going on. Now, to be fair, Pride does this very well. Primary DPS, sub DPS, stun, support, right? I took it a step further and I wanted a category for defense. The reason I want a category for defense for a number of different reasons, but the main reason is that I personally do not consider all defense agents just support. While yes, they can support the team or the character, your main DPS, whatever, I think that defense agents are adding a little bit more to the cast, similar to how rupture agents are the same type of attack type, but they add a little bit more to whatever the fuck is going on with their character and whatnot. And rupture being what it is means that we can get rupture and it doesn't necessarily have to be attack. We could probably get a rupture defense or a rupture style defense, things like that. But without too much more of that, let's jump into what we got going on. I'll refresh here just to make sure, and then we're good to go. Boom. What do you guys want to start with first? I feel like knocking out tier 0 might be the easiest.
I agree. Let's just dump Miyabi where she needs to go.
There you go.
Are we gonna do like all of tier 0 across, or are we gonna do like focus on DPS?
It's not working.
What's it?
I can't drag it. I can't drag it. It's not working. Tudsy, it's not doing the thing. Oh, click them and then aha, science. Yo, nice. All right. Thank you. Miyabi, easily number one character, number one DPS in the game by far. I understand that we're going to have a conversation about Yixuan either through us or through the chat / YouTube comments, but I do believe that Miyabi is in a tier of her own. I don't think Yixuan is in that tier, but we are going to come across something that I think would be, if we do the main DPS, I think it's probably something that we can knock out now. We were just talking about it earlier. It's going to get to a point where it's going to look like this with, where's it at? Yixuan. We have, I do believe Evelyn would find herself in here. We have Hugo, who would make himself, pretty viable. Who am I missing?
Yanagi.
As a main DPS or a sub? We think main DPS, Yanagi is 0.5.
Both. Yes, 100%.
Okay. I don't know if I agree with that one, Chief, but
electric DPS better than her.
It's not that I think another electric DPS is better than her. I just don't think as a main DPS she's in 0.5. But I mean, that's not a very definite statement for me. I can be convinced. I just haven't really looked into Yanagi compared to the others like that. Like I haven't seen those type of clears. But before we get into that, the reason that I brought this up is because if Yixuan is what we are looking at from Pride as, same thing, tier 0. And the way that I look at this, I think that Miyabi is in a tier of her own. And I think Yixuan is also in a tier of her own, at least right now, because the content is shilling her. So she would either be in 0.5 by herself, or there would have to be some weird tier between 0.5 and tier 0 that each one sits in. Both of those sound pretty controversial. Thoughts?
I completely agree. That was something that I actually wanted to touch on, because I think that 2.x, and we were talking about this the other day, is going to be consistently shilling Yixuan. So she's going to stay nearish Miyabi, but they're not going to be in the same tier ever. I'm very interested in where she's going to place once they stop shilling her. I think that she will be in tier 0.5 with everybody else, but I do think for now, at least for the next couple of months until 2.x ends, she is above those 0.5 characters with her best in slot team.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's as close as you're going to get to being paired with some of the power of Miyabi. Miyabi, just how her kit is in general, it's just very flexible and on a larger scale in comparison to Yixuan. But Yixuan is pretty close. Yixuan is also one of those things where she's not going to be as strong as Miyabi in my opinion, because but most Hoyo games do this, or most gatas do this in general. But normally the first iteration of a new character type or class tends to always have like a little bit of downsides because they aren't completely fleshed out yet. And so by the time Miyabi's inclusion, they already knew what they wanted to do with Anomaly. So Miyabi is like the perfect offspring of what Anomaly is going to be.
Yeah.
And Yixuan is like their first interpretation of what Rupture is. So she's at that spot now, which is great because of the shielding and because she's just pretty strong in general. But even at that stance, I don't even know if she's going to be what Rupture truly represents in the long run.
Yeah, I agree. I think with everything you guys said, and then I see you guys commenting like just put Yixuan in tier 0. And then Tozaku, I saw that you said like tier 0 isn't just for one character, so maybe I should clarify a couple things. Tier 0 does not mean one character. We can all agree on that. That's not why we are putting Miyabi in tier 0. And I don't believe that's why any of us are saying that Miyabi is in a tier of her own. The reason we're saying this is because Miyabi is literally in a tier of her own. If you look at the gameplay for anything, really high level, casual level, doesn't really matter what you're looking at. But when we get to the nitty gritty of like what makes this character as strong as she is, no other character in the game has what Miyabi has. It's point blank. That's the fact. That is what it is. No other character in the game is taking advantage of both Anomaly and crit based or regular attack types the way she is. No other character in the game is utilizing every single DPS or stun in the game. Or my bad, not DPS, support. Every single support or stun character in the game the same way that she is. And not every single character is able to play in a dual DPS scenario while not sacrificing anything from their kit. Very few DPS characters, which I'm trying to think of some, and I think the only one is probably like Yanagi. Very few DPS characters are able to completely ignore their additional ability and still output a ridiculous amount of damage just because they can. And factually, the best team in the game is Mono Ice. That is Miyabi, Lycan, and Soukaku. And now with Yuzuha in the mix, it's gotten even stronger. This doesn't, saying like all the things that we're talking about with Miyabi, just because these things exist for her, doesn't all of a sudden make Yixuan bad, and nor are we saying that. Their damage is similar, but similar at a very baseline level. It's not similar when you start, like when you really start getting into the nitty gritty of it and like who's doing what, these characters are not similar at all. Like the damage output is not the same at all. If you were to look at a Deadly Assault clear or the Mono Ice team clear, and you look at how these two characters teams are dishing out the damage, you're looking at what's happening. This is not the case at all. Like Miyabi is smoking everybody in the game literally for free because Soukaku and Lycan are for free. Anyone else that's trying to get on that level, they have to compete with money.
Mind you that prior to everybody figuring out Mono Ice, the performance of that team is a night and day difference of how strong that team has become over the course of the period. And it shows the strength of the other two characters, but I think it definitely highlights the overall strength of Miyabi. And then one of the main things I always like to bring up with Miyabi is that the one thing that hasn't been shown with Yixuan is that has been clearly shown the strength of Miyabi is that when content is designed to work against you and you say fuck it, I'd still win. Like everybody's whole thing about Miasma being a counter to Miyabi, which in a sense it is, but it's more so like content has been made to kind of counteract against Anomaly. But Miyabi, how she's built, she's like, that's cool and all, I'm still going to easily clear this. I might not be hitting my 50k, my 60k in DA, but I'm gonna still get that 35, 40. So it's like Yixuan hasn't shown that level of strength when it comes to like, at least I haven't seen it when it comes to fighting against content that's designed to be against her. But we aren't at that point yet with the game for her anyway, because everything so far is designed to be benefiting her. And for Miyabi to still be able to compete in the comparable numbers when Yixuan is being shielded and when she isn't, I think that's a testament to show the difference in their power at the very moment.
Yeah, and then adding into that to double down with you, it's, you guys were mentioning the ice res and miasma. Yes, guys, miasma is a soft or hard, I don't know the specific term I want to use there, but it is a counter to Anomaly first. But they made miasma, and obviously I'm saying this just with my own information, so let me not make this as a definite. My perspective on this, my opinion on this, is that miasma was made to counter Miyabi. They tried something, Miyabi players were like, oh, that's really cool, that's nice, that's really cute that you did that. I don't care. There's a meme that's going around where, you know, Miyabi says or something on the paper says like ice resistant by like 45% or something like that, and then Miyabi doesn't, like, I can't read this anyway, right? Like, and she's just gonna smoke it. That is Miyabi. This is the only character in the game that quite literally doesn't care. It doesn't matter if it's resisted, it doesn't matter if it's oh, hey, anomaly doesn't work. Oh, that's cool, crit, and you're dead. Even with the, and you guys, some of you guys were in my stream, you guys saw me struggling with that maybe like a patch or two ago. And the Deadly Assault was like, basically it was 100% ice res. Like you just couldn't do ice. And there were still people clearing with M0 Miyabi in the Deadly, not the Deadly Assault, my bad, the Hollow Zero.
Oh, Hollow Zero.
Yeah, and she's smoking the boss. It's like no other character's doing that. It's a very tough feat to be able to like 100% resist it and I still kill you in seconds. That's ridiculous. So yes, Yixuan is powerful. Miyabi is stronger. Like it gets to a certain point where you need to start looking at like the facts behind what's happening and the results, and not this is my favorite character, or like I like this character, or I need to feel validated because I pulled Yixuan and skipped Miyabi. So Yixuan has to be tier 0. Like there's no other way. Also, we're not making a casual tier list. I don't know if we made that clear in the beginning. I probably didn't. This tier list is not meant to be looked at from a casual perspective. Like I can take that in mind, but I don't want that to be like a massive factor into like what's going on.
Also, I think the biggest problem with tier lists is that people take what characters are at a certain tier at face value. Like I don't think that a lot of people really take into consideration the nuances like we were talking about earlier. And this is why I've been hesitant to even make my own tier list video, because if we went the route of doing it casual and we put Miyabi and Yixuan in tier 0, majority of players who look at a tier list are going to say, oh, okay, well, Miyabi and Yixuan are in tier 0, so these characters should be equal. It's like, no, Miyabi's not equal. I wouldn't mind doing a casual tier list if people take into considerations the nuances, but because that doesn't happen, I can't put Yixuan in tier 0. I can put her in high 0.5, or I can just put her in 0.5 with everybody else, but I can't put her in the same tier as Miyabi.
Yeah,
especially knowing what Miyabi does.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you on that. And that's just kind of like what it is, right? Like, I think it's not about us putting a character in tier 0 and like gatekeeping Yixuan out of it, because like Infinite Reason number 7, it's literally just they're not on the same level. If you play a character and like it's comfortable for you, that's fine. We're not looking at this from like how we play a character specifically. It's as a whole, like the damage performance, the team performance, what they're able to do. There's a lot going on here when it comes to like how you're looking at stuff. These two aren't the same, but I do agree that if we were to put Yixuan in 0.5, and then, you know, that means that we move these characters down, right? And now it looks weird. That's what I was saying before, and that's kind of what we were getting ready to discuss here, is that I don't think that, you know, Yanagi, Evelyn, and Hugo are tier 1, but this is also under the, I'm gonna borrow something that I say, or Nix tells us all the time, define the criteria, right? If tier 1 is still like Pride Wins level of tier 0.5, there's no difference. The only difference is that you're reading a 1 and not a 0.5. But if you're defining criteria, then that's something that needs to be established. I think if we defined the criteria that tier 1 is still top tier, like it's the top of the top tier, then there's nothing weird about these characters sitting in tier 1, because this isn't a tier list. It's like universal across the board for everybody, comparable to like Pride Win, right? And obviously at a certain point, I would write out whatever the criteria would be off to the side once we decide to share something like this. But right now, this is just kind of like for us. You know what I mean? So it might be better if we did put Yixuan in tier 0.5, because I really don't think there's another character on her level. And the only other option is if we do something really weird and we make a 0.3 tier. And at that point, I don't know what the 0.3 represents. I'm not gonna hold you.
Yeah, I think already having 0.5, 1.5 is more than enough, as long as we explain these nuances as best as possible. But yeah, like guys, we would be adding like
0.75,
0.2, 0.8, 8.9.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much nuance that it's like you don't want to do that. You don't.
Yeah, I think the easiest way to go about it is like kind of like how I think Pride does it sometimes, where it's like when they're debating on moving a character up, they'll put like an asterisk or something by the character to show like their strength could be above where it is. I think they have Evelyn has it on their list. Like she has the expert tag, so showing that she could move up a tier when you played at the highest level or whatever. I think you just do a pretty similar thing with Yuzuha. You just give her like a little green arrow asterisk to be like, she's 0.5, but she's like high 0.5 in comparison to the other 3 on the list. Yeah. Type B.
I could agree with that. Nix, you said put Yanagi, or she needs to be in 0.5. I think Sol was definitely saying that. Flossin, were you saying that too? Are you in the
I
same boat as
think-
me, and you're like you don't have enough information to know it just yet?
I've done minor testing on a second account. I can't say with 100% certain that she belongs in 0.5, but definitely tier 1 for sure.
Okay.
I think I kind of just answered my own thing. I was looking at the columns. I see it's main DPS. So yeah, I don't have enough information as far as main DPS Yanagi.
Yeah, we can't have another Soldier 11 main in here.
Hey, her time might be running up, low key.
Uh-oh.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Common name my goat, bro.
All right, well, go ahead, Sol. Take it over. Why are we, as far as
Yanagi
goes,
0.5
as a main DPS?
as a main DPS, as somebody that's been testing her as of recent, because I want to pull her for like the past 2 or 3 CE servers. This character performance, when played properly, is on a very similar level to Evelyn. She's easily able to clear any form of in-game content, over performing, especially when it comes to like, because one of the main selling points everybody mentions with Evelyn is she's amazing at clearing fire content, and she does it with ease. And Yanagi is the same way. I have no issues without even sweating, really. I have no issues of getting 45 plus on DA that's anything sitting around electric weak. And same thing with anything that's not electric weak. She's able to easily clear 40K without any issue. And plus the fact that she's able, even when she's the main driver of an anomaly team, she's amplifying the performance of disorders on her teams overall, making her the Miyabi before Miyabi in a sense.
Okay.
I think this character is
and is this
easily
specifically
if
or like straight up both?
Both.
Period. Both. Okay.
I think when it comes to a character that gives you one of the best long-term forms of investment in the game, I think it goes down to 2 characters, and especially out of anomaly class, it's Miyabi or Yanagi. I think this character out of any character has aged the best out of any character that has released so early within the game. She came out at 1.3, and ever since that she's released, she's only gotten better. She hasn't declined at all.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything to dispute that.
Can I ask what teams have you been running with main DPS Yanagi?
Main ones that Nick's just put: Vivian, Bernice. Those are the main ones. If she's the primary pilot, those are the main ones that you're using.
Okay.
Yeah, and like you said, she doesn't need her additional ore weapon to perform at that level. Like especially when I was like I sent it in our group chat the other day when I was testing with her and Jane together. And mind you, we always mention Jane is a stingy anomaly character. So putting her with another anomaly unit tends to not be the greatest unless it's like Vivian and Bernice, they do all this shit off field. Putting her with Yanagi was like, look, I know you don't normally want a partner, but don't worry, I'm carrying you. When doing clears with that team, it just felt like that even though Jane was losing DPS because she was sacrificing field time, Yanagi was like, don't worry, I got you.
I like that. Okay. And like I said, I'm not going to dispute that because I was already saying the same thing earlier. Not everything you said, but that one specific thing about not needing the additional ability. I said that about her and Miyabi earlier. So I could absolutely see why you would agree that she's 0.5. Now, what I will ask, because it seems like we have a little bit of space here, would you say Yixuan is above her in 0.5?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just because.
Yeah, all I'm going to do is like just move her here in the middle.
Just because, especially where we're at right now, I feel like it's going to slowly get to that point. I think Yixuan's kit, to me, seems like it's inspired in between of a Yanagi and a Miyabi. Like, I feel like at some point we could potentially see, and this could be just being a stretch, we could see people running burst DPS Yixuan. That's how much of a similarity I kind of see between her and Nagi in some instances. But I think based off like her core kit and how they design Yixuan, it's like it's really hard to say that Yixuan isn't the second best in the game. Like she's pretty. That's like she's as close as Miyabi as you're gonna get. That when just reading their kit and the core details of like their overall multipliers and stuff, it's just hard. It's just hard to not say that that's the second strongest character in the game.
Yeah. Okay. Valid. I agree. I can see that. Now with Hugo or Shiyu, because this is the Shiyu tier. With everything that you said, I kind of just think that Hugo is tier 0.5 because he snipes shit in one hit. Like, I really don't have another reason. He just kills things in one hit, maybe 2.
That's my
Yeah.
Hugo is a nigga, and I love him. He's a nigga that's on a timer.
Yeah. Agreed.
Nick said T1. Look, if you want to put him T1, that's fine too. I think where he's currently at right now, he's in a similar position as like I was speaking with Evelyn. It's like if it's ice content, most of the time hardly any issue unless it's bringer. But then, like I mentioned earlier, even though you have to slightly tweak your overall team's builds, he's still able to handle bringer. But even still, I do agree that he's a character that's on the timer. That if we put him 0.5 now, that's cool. But I imagine within a patch or two, he's probably going to slowly start dropping down just because of how he's designed.
All right, so let's spice it up a little bit. Evelyn versus Hugo. They fight for the.
Oh, that's not hard, Evelyn.
If they're fighting for tier 0.5,
yeah.
if anything.
That's
Evelyn.
Evelyn.
Okay. Now follow up. Do we think Evelyn is tier 0.5?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But we're saying Evelyn takes that spot from Hugo.
Yes. If we have to pick which one goes into 0.5, Evelyn easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Someone's
Because-
gonna be like, what
because-
the fuck? Not my Hugo. No.
Because even with like how strong Hugo is, and the LMAs might like hearing this. Ever since her buff, I don't think the gap between them, especially in the long haul, is a tier difference between each other.
Yeah.
I think, especially if we're talking about M0, and if we're doing no engine, or if we're doing 6, whatever, Hugo and Ellen's difference in power isn't too far from one another. And the fact, and the fact that Ellen's additional ability got adjusted, so now she even has better team flexibility than Hugo. I think it's pretty comparable to place them near each other right now.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah. I mean,
I guess I can say follow up. I can't 100% say Ellen versus Hugo, but I can say with the testing that I've done with the new Ellen, it definitely brought her back. It's like night and day.
Yeah.
Now that she has more access to different teammates, and on top of the the chain buffs, things like that, I think she's more flexible and a lot more stronger.
Just to
Hugo,
highlight what Nick's is saying. He is also one of the only DPS in the game with pair with Astra. He's not good.
I feel like that's a positive for him though, man. You know?
No.
He said,
No.
leave Astra the fuck over there on her own team. I don't want her. And men only.
If you can't, if you perform worse with the general support, I don't know. That's a little red flag. It's like I've always stated. For me, is that Hugo's a character that I like a lot. That I'm going to eventually get Mindscapes for him because I just like him. And I know I'm personally going to need to, because how his kit is just, which with HP's going to be slowly increasing over time. He's always going to get to that point unless they end up buffing him down the line, that he's just going to slowly but surely decline over time. You're going to need to invest into him more. But the thing is that there's not that much flexibility within his kit until you unlock Mindscapes that allow you to work around his issues.
I was gonna bring that to light as well, like his team compositions. I kind of didn't want to, because we're kind of basing them, I guess, off of their best teammates. But yeah, like not being able to have one of the best supports on your team, and on top of that already needing like high investment ish with Lycon Lighter just to maybe push tier 0, or not tier 0, tier 0.5. I can't see it, but we're not doing this based off of who has what value. It's their best in slot teams. But
Yeah, no, I agree with you
I think
guys.
somebody said Sub-DPS.
Hugo.
Look. I know we pushed that idea, and it's a cool team. But the idea of that team was to never state it was a great, like one of the best teams in the game. It was just a cool team that you could do.
That's funny. So with that in mind, I think the next batch characters that we have to talk about at that point, which I feel like a little similar, like on the same level, give or take. I don't know if they're on the same level. That's kind of like the tough part, right? If we're talking about like tier 1, I think Samby's more consistent than Hugo, and 2, I think they're pretty much on par. If not, she's a little better. But again, that's just a consistency thing. I don't think that Samby's like crazy cracked, but I think that she's missing her support. She has the stunners to help her out. She has Astra. Astra's, the universal one. But she doesn't really have anything for her. Like, no one is made for Sanby the same way that these other characters have deep supports made for her. with that in mind, though, I still do think that she is tier 1. I mean, I don't. I guess that gap
People
doesn't
know my
exist.
stance on this character. This
You about to
character
say she tier
water.
2?
This character, this is by far one of the worst premium DPS they made. And it's not even to hate. Let me finish real quick, Flossin. It's
No,
not
you're
even
good,
to like to fully hate on her. They cooked her kit. The initial design they had with Aftershock, they not following it no more.
Yeah.
So she's just gonna get hold for now on because unless they change her kit, their original concept of Aftershock just wasn't that great. And luckily for Poker and Trigger, they're able to actively work without her. So even though they came out around a similar time, they're able to disperse and work in other teams. Like Trigger's found her whole new place in Anomaly now.
Yeah.
Recently with freaking Yanagi, and I've seen people run her with Jane and stuff now. So she has a place. But when you talk about characters that work with Sanby, you got Pokra, Trigger, Astra. That is it. You can try to make some other stuff work, but for the most part, that's the best you gonna get. And honestly, and everybody's like, until she gets her own support, bruh, she came out 1.6. This hoe is done. I'm
Plaza,
sorry.
What you gotta say, Plaza?
They moving on.
Man, I'll just say, if we're talking Shiyu, like, honestly, just in general, before we even talk about Shiyu, like, Sandy's biggest problem is that she holds herself back. And they have not fixed this character. I don't know why. As I've played her more and more over time, I've started to deviate away from her. Not even because I don't like the character, but it's just like she has internal problems that I feel like are bugs that should have been addressed at this point. They did address the very first one, but that was just because, I don't know, the whole community was in uproar. I
heard that thing can still miss. I heard her ultimate can still miss.
Yeah, her ult can still miss, but it's like a frame thing, kind of, where it's like if you're against a certain wall or an object or whatever. But to be fair, that distance problem is still there. So if she overshoots over the enemy, you just miss.
Yeah.
Now I will say that if people want to say she's T1, I'm putting her at the bottom of T1. We ain't gotta move her to 0.5, but in my opinion, she bottom of T1.
No. I honestly, like, I love Obal, I love Anby, but like I would easily put her in 1.5 just because she's just not, like, it's not easy to use this character. Even in her best team slot, it's not easy because what she does when she's on field, she just ruins herself, right? The distance thing is the biggest issue. I was showing chat the other day that you can hit an enemy at the end of her third basic, I believe, but she won't teleport with her fourth. It's like, so you can see the range on it.
I was bitching about that a while ago too, and then Nyx was telling me we figured it out. It's still bad, but we ended up figuring it out. It's a proximity check. So if you're not near them enough for her to like latch onto them with her like zip move, it's not gonna work. And then yeah, like you're not supposed to be playing at the range where it's not, gonna connect basically. So it's more of a player fault that it doesn't do it, but the way the character functions, you're alluded to the fact that it'll just work, but it doesn't. And even her EX skill has that same problem where if like I press EX skill and I want to zap across the entire screen, it should work, but it doesn't. Both swords have to connect. Yeah. So if only one sword connects in one launcher.
I gotta watch Sonta's video again because he recently did a video on like his problems with Sanby. And even though this is coming from people might mention Sonta as well, Sonta's still really good at the game. He understands how to play the game at a pretty high level, even with having high investments. And for someone that has characters that sometimes aren't always fully high invested, his opinion of Sanby is still pretty low, even with her being at, I think he has her at M6. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that he pointed out, I can't remember which exact skills was it, but essentially he was stating that Sanby also has like a I forgot what her resource the unique resource that she has. She has a consistency issue with how effectively she's able to build that resource depending on the skills and stuff that she uses at the time, because he was showing. I have to look at the video again, but he was showing some form of inconsistency that sometimes she'll get enough energy to get a point, 1 of the 3 points, or get all 3. But sometimes, depending on what you start with, she won't. And he was like, but since the game is so reactive and on the fly, that inconsistency is like a detriment to her overall performance.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I know what you're talking about there too, or rather what Sontis is talking about. I get it.
I want to add on to my second problem with Anby is that it's her crowd control, right? Her hold EX, that's the main thing that you want to hit. If we're talking Shiyu, right, with all the mobs on the first
let's not talk about that. Let's just get that part, because like that shit pisses me off so much.
Okay.
Nah, keep going.
Okay.
Talk about it.
No, I get it, because it's like Anby's whole thing is like you do the whole EX special, then you do 3 EX, right? Again, her kit does not allow her to do that. So with her whole grouping thing, she throws her little Beyblade or whatever, right? If you clip somebody, you don't get the thing. I've already said that. Okay, it is what it is, skill issue. You just reset, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, after you reset and everybody has the dashes on them, Anby does not prioritize the character she first dashes. She prioritizes whoever she's close to.
Yeah.
And that doesn't benefit her because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you're supposed to dash 3 times on the same enemy with Anby, so you get a lightning bolt strike. It's extra damage. Anby will just say, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing, and start dashing towards random people, and then you don't get your full amount of damage. So a lot of people will just say, okay, let's just play Nicole. Well, if we're talking about the best in slot team, it's still Astra. You can technically group with Astra, but it's not that good.
I hate playing
just
with
every
Astra.
time I play Anby, I'm not having a good time anymore. I don't know.
I respect it. I feel that. Skiz says, thank you for the super chat, by the way, Skiz. He was wrong about the stacks. He wasn't holding the basic attack probably for the full stacks. No. Skiz, what you're talking about would be a different problem. There's a particular thing. So you know when she does, actually, is my game still open? Yeah, it is. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. We actually have the game open right now. So whenever Anby does, let me get this guy to stop real quick. When Anby does this, which is going to be 1, 2, and then 3, right? So you see how her swords swing out, and then 4 would zip her. But like, look at what's happening right there. This is what we're talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see how she dashes in place? So that's just not supposed to happen. That's just not supposed to happen. Like if I'm dashing somewhere, you can't dash in place. So
he's not talking about you. He's talking about what I said.
Wait, what'd you say?
I just went back to Sonta's video. The thing that I was trying to say that Sonta said was inconsistency. Sonta admitted in the comments that was a user error on his part. So ignore what I said.
Okay. I thought we were talking about the dashes. That's my bad then.
He said that. Yeah, he went back and said that's a user error on his part. My fault. I didn't know. I haven't been back to the video. We move on though. The character's still butt.
All right. Well, Nix is making an argument for Jane at the top of tier 1, but before we jump into Jane, I want to touch on. Yeah. But before we do that, there's like a couple characters that I want to talk about that are in probably one's tier 1.5, but some of the things that you guys mentioned might actually have these characters in tier 1. So I want to talk about Ellen. I want to talk about Harumasa, and I want to talk about Yuan. These 3 in particular, because I do believe Harumasa and Yuan are on very similar levels in terms of damage performance. But y'all mentioned something about Ellen, which was that you felt she was on par, if not more consistent than Hugo.
I think the matchup spread for Hugo is harder, but Hugo's peak when he's in the right conditions is higher. But Ellen doesn't have so many check marks that she needs to hit now to like, oh yeah, I need this in order to perform well. So with that in mind, in my opinion, they're both in a similar tier, regardless if Hugo's peak damage potential is higher. He's just you will use him in a lot of less scenarios because he has a little of matchups that he's good at. So I do agree that I do believe that they are in the same tier. If I will put Ellen anywhere, she may be bottom of T1 for now, maybe, because I think her and Zhu are pretty similar in strength. Well, her, Zhu, and Harumasa, because it was about time we move up this whole shit about Haru being T1.5, especially since we're not talking about completely from a casual perspective. We talking about if you know how to play the nigga and know how to operate, how his kit works, this character's T1. Zhu, same way. Zhu is another character that over time has progressively gotten a bit better, just because we've now moved her from just being a straight up burst DPS to now she can be an on-fielder as well, because of how you're able to construct teams with her and manage her resources pretty effectively, regardless of her being in or out of stun.
I'm not gonna touch Haru because I don't have info. I can confidently say that Yuan has definitely aged well. I don't think she's moved up or down a whole bunch. I think she's stayed very consistent with the agent releases that have come out. Like Sol said, she went from being burst with Qingyi to being more on field with things like trigger, experimenting with those type of playstyles. Ellen, I also agree. I think Hugo is still taking the lead as far as damage, right? If we're talking strictly damage, then yeah, Hugo. But if we're looking for something that's more consistent that you can take into ice, period, I would definitely be leaning more towards Ellen, especially after the recent buffs, more flexibility in what she can do, how she can operate. I'm very satisfied with Ellen and Yuan both being tier 1.
Okay, I agree. I would even I guess it's gonna get a little cluttered here in tier 1 if we clap Jane at the top of it, but I really want to say that Ellen is on par with Hugo, if not like right there, like right beneath him. But it's more so because of the consistency behind it, just like you guys were kind of mentioning too. Which it's not even to say that Hugo isn't consistent. It's just like the matchup thing. Hugo only has so many matchups that are in his favor compared to everyone else.
Ellen is better than Zhu and Haru. Yeah. Dix is right. Hugo's DPS is high because his burst potential. His team is able to activate so many damn stun windows that it makes his DPS high. His overall damage isn't that insane though.
Yeah.
But DPS is good. Ellen is better than Zhu and Haru. I haven't for the most part, what I'm seeing whenever they're matched up against their preferred like fights and whatever, I find that Ellen, Haru, and Zhu clear pretty similarly. So I don't know if I can outright say that one is better than other, especially talking about all M0. Now I could be wrong. I'm just not seeing enough of the recent Ellen play. But from at least the little bit that I've seen, from learning the characters myself, which I'm not saying I'm the greatest Ellen player because I'm still very fresh with her, but also like searching for people that are really good with her. I think they feel like they all perform very similarly. You can't look at Ellen like those characters. You have to look at her like Anby. How so? Ellen is the aftershock DPS, especially as of recently. I can see what Nick's putting down.
What does he mean by that?
So ever since aftershocks was being introduced, it's funny enough, Anby was designed to work with them, but how Ellen overall operates and how on-field heavy she is and how her kit overall is, she fits perfectly in them same comps. Like I'm on the way Nyx was like one of the first few. He was just like, oh, you can literally just give her the trigger Astra team, and it works almost just as well now that she has that new additional ability change. You also give her the free to play option that they was pushing with Anby with Pokra, and it does pretty well as well. Same with your Fufu. She's the character that, even though she wasn't designed with it, funny enough, just how her kit overall works, she's able to work with a lot of the aftershock units, especially the stunners, because it just allows her to play the game that she wants. She's able to do the thing that Jane wants to do, which is that she gets to be selfish with her field time, because all of her DPS, all of her stunners could just perform off field while allowing her to still rack up the DPS outside of stun.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Also, yeah, everybody's M0. Ellen's Mindscapes, guys, or for those that aren't aware, if you play Starro, Ellen's Mindscapes are closer towards like how Zila is. They don't make her a better character because she just does a fuck ton of damage. They make her a better character by improving her actual kit, where Zila might have issues with popping resurgence or speed, or even like having a little bit of crit rate. Her Mindscapes fix that. In Ellen's case, Ellen's Mindscapes fix or alleviate issues within her kit. They don't just give her a fuck ton of damage, but through alleviating these issues in her kit, that's where you get more opportunity for damage, right? Like M2 Ellen, you get the crit rate boost, and you also get the Shark Nami, right? The EX2 version of Shark Nami, you get access to that as well. And then on top of the new changes, right, the reworked Ellen, well, when you have M2 Ellen, now you can just do Shark Nami after every single thing you want while still being able to build up all the anomaly you need for ice. But no, right now we're talking about M0, which as good as Shark Nami is, it's not mandatory, it's not required for you to use in our kit. But because of her new rework, you can actually get away with it. So what I'm feeling though, from listening to you guys and having the talks here, I think the last one that we would have to figure out is Jane. Putting Jane at the top of tier 1 or in the middle is probably gonna dictate like the wrap up of tier 1. From my experience, like what I've played for Jane, especially with Yuzuha being out here, I think Jane, and I feel like she's gonna get a rework. So I don't want to talk about her until she actually gets the rework. But at her current level, I think Anomaly Assault's having the ICU of like 1.5 or 3 seconds, whatever it is. Those having that, her ability to play with both Astra and Yuzuha now, her ability to have Vivian and Bernice, and even if you wanted to play Yanagi, you could. Just like you mentioned earlier, she has a multitude of fucking teams that she can use to her advantage. She takes advantage of a very hyper-aggressive playstyle, and her damage performance now is really, really up there. One of the big problems that we've always said with Jane is that there's no physical weak content. And I think right now with there being a lot of physical weak enemies, is she's showing like, hey, I'm still a top tier DPS. I can't box outside of my ring, but inside of her ring, I think she's phenomenal.
I think that's a fair point. I would even go as far to say that whenever Jane is paired with Vivian or Bernice, right? When they have their off element that they're weak to, like we're going against Butcher, which is Ether, or Pompeii with fire. I think she even shines there. Like of course the sub DPS is helping a lot more, but I think outside of, what am I trying to say? Ether and fire for those Jane anomaly teams. I'm in agreement with Iyo that you kind of just don't want to pick Jane for those, but yeah.
Yeah, her pairing with her sub DPS allow her to fight outside of her element.
Yeah,
and when she's within her element, it's just even better. But I guess with that stance, so where does Piper go?
That's kind of what I was feeling too, because like if I'm being honest, and especially with like right now, let me put Jane up here at the top just for the visual representation. If we're looking at this the way it is right now, I'm not gonna hold you. Piper been doing work. She might not be this high up on tier 1, let me not cap, but she's somewhere in this ballpark, because everything that Jane's doing, and it's been that way, Piper's doing. If Jane could clear something in fucking 50 seconds, Piper could clear it in like 55, maybe 62. Deadly Assault, same thing. All the same teams that Jane works with, Piper works with.
Piper's just been flat out consistent on the same level as Jane since 1.0. We've had this character since launch. It took me a while to hop on the train, but the people who built Piper in the beginning, they were saying like guys, you're undervaluing this character. She's very good. I've actually started leaning more towards Piper than Jane these past couple of months, just because I've wanted to try it out myself. This character's very good. Before she even reset, I did the same teams that I run with Jane, only with Piper. I'm getting very minuscule difference of clear times, like between 10 to 15 seconds, right? It sounds like a lot, but I mean, they're still clearing under 2 minutes. You know, this is an A rank character. I think Piper deserves to be in tier 1.
What he said, I think she's top of tier 1 pawn. Only reason why is her additional. I think her additional requires her to have the same element in faction. Then I guess that only matters then is when she's running with Vivian. But even now, she can just do Vivian Yuzuha. So I guess it's like there's a little bit more restriction. I was just saying her additional doesn't matter.
Oh, the damage increase.
I mean, it's not insane. I guess I could see that. It's not a crazy increase. It's only what, 18%.
Yeah, she doesn't really need it.
The price is also fucked up because she's stiff. That's true.
Yeah, the ease of use definitely falls into Jane's hands. Jane can keep constant passion stream going the entire fight. Piper kind of loses that value once she starts fighting very aggressive characters. You're trying to find those windows to build up power, also trying to find small windows to spin to keep the uptime. So
it sounds like Soldier Zero. Who are we talking about?
No, I was just talking about Piper.
Oh shit.
Her ult misses. I've never seen her ult miss before.
Y'all were naming things. I was like, yo, this sound like Sammy.
But I guess, unless I need to see more. But like especially like recently, when seeing a lot of clears, like content clears, that I haven't seen a lot recently with Yuzuha. She's not that far off from performance wise than Jane. So like even with like those downsides, can we really separate them a tier apart from one another?
I don't think the distance between M6 Piper and M1 Jane is very far.
M0.
Oh, M0.
Well, no. The A ranks are M6. Yeah. The A ranks would have to be M6
Okay,
for sure.
okay.
Yeah. I'll say he said M1 Jane. I was correct. Him saying M0
M0 Jane. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, M0. Yeah, I don't think it's that far apart.
Yeah, I get that she's harder to play.
Well, you know what? Being harder to play would have to be a factor. Well, not that it has to be a factor, but I understand why it would be. This is kind of the same thing with like everyone else, right? You play something like the Yixuan versus Miyabi thing. And it's like, I can just mash. I'm like, yeah, you could just mash, but you could also do this other thing over here with like Harumasa. No, I don't want to do that. Yeah, but Harumasa's free. Yeah, but I want this other character. Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards what you guys are saying though. I feel like I understand that maybe like the difference between the two would be noticeable, especially now, but I don't know, man. Piper's just been putting in work. I'd be content with putting her at like tier 1.5 if he wasn't getting the results that she gets currently. Like, hey, do you want Jane? Like, do you really want Jane? I mean, she's cool. All right, just play Piper. Hey, should I pull this character or should I get Jane? Do you have Piper? I have Piper, just play Piper. When that conversation or argument starts getting thrown around, that's what's making it harder for me to say like where Piper would go.
I guess question, Nix, because you're saying that's much of a factor, how much of a consistency issue is that for Jane?
I mean, if you're not playing Jane on like keeping up with all her shit, you add minutes to your time. Like a bad Jane, you're gonna be sitting there for like 2 minutes and 27 seconds.
If you lose passion, it's over. You just reset. Because
if it's I guess like a little too inconsistent, then I think at one. And maybe inconsistent isn't the word I'm looking for. But I will say with what we've been saying, I think at worst, I would put Piper at the bottom of T1.
If you don't play Jane right, that's when you get closer to Piper. I can agree with that.
I agree. But
I can agree with that.
I guess I'm saying like where most of the performance we've seen from Jane, Piper is relatively not that far, even from some like the best players that plays both of them.
I guess this would probably help us out too. I don't think Piper's better than Harumasa. I mean, yeah. So like we can't have her up there anyway, right?
I wasn't gonna put her right beside Jane. I was gonna roughly put her at the bottom of T1 at worst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because like you guys said, if we want to take into account ease of use, then yeah, like you're managing a lot more stuff on Piper.
Okay, I'd say we could go with that. Top of tier 1.5 because I just don't feel like moving oh boy. I'm not gonna move him any. But
hey, look, Nick, you want to fight for that 1.5? Join the call, nigga.
He gonna hit you with the nope. I'm good. I'll keep arguing in chat. Y'all gonna keep reading my messages. Soldier.
T2.
Flat out.
T2.
Yeah. Nothing higher.
That's my girl.
We got
love
tier
her.
3 and 4 though. You sure?
No, we not that bad. We not that bad.
Okay.
We not that bad.
You know,
T2.
Hey, man, you said it, not me. All right.
Well, actually, hold. Actually, my opinion might be skewed because I'm kind of buffed up on my soldier now. So my opinion might be skewed. I got an M3 soldier and with a R2 or R3 brimstone. So
yeah, I think soldier.
My opinion might be skewed.
I'm not gonna hold you, bro. I think soldier is worse than like, well, not worse, but like on par. The whole Nekomata, Grace, Billy, that trio.
Oh no, by down.
Soldier in there, or she worse. Because the only thing that's carrying soldier right now is the fact that she has lighter, and the others don't.
Yeah, I mean we're factoring teams.
Yeah, we are
for their placements.
We are, but I don't think that's making up her performance. I just think she's not performing. Like you guys are the soldier 11 main, so like I can't speak on that, you know.
Soldier with lighter, soldier without lighter, night and day, bitch.
Yeah,
night and day.
I can't say that I've done recent testing with M0 soldier. I'm right there with Sol. Like I might have been unrelatable for a second, but
I will say that partner tag on Pride Win is 100% fact. That man lighter is dragging her out the grave. 100%. He is holding her down. That is the only reason why I can't say that she's as low as them. It's because lighter is carrying her so much.
Okay.
But that's my girl though.
All right.
All I'll say is T2.
So I don't think M0 Nekomata is tier 2. I think,
Oh, nah,
I,
like if we're talking
M0 Neko.
M0, I think she's
That T3. T3
this
T4.
character needs M1. I don't know why it's not in the base kit.
Solar cheat.
It
What do
needs
you
it.
mean?
And even
If I'm gonna be honest about my girl, we gotta be honest. I love her. That's why I'm getting. Look, that's why I got all the easily mod skips I could get for her. I'm invested. We getting that M6 and we gonna get that R5 Brimstone.
Oh
and
my
that new and when
goodness.
Evelyn come out for the rerun, we gonna get it. But I gotta be truthful about her performance.
Do we think Billy's better or worse than Soldier?
at M6 Billy.
M6 Billy versus M0 Soldier.
See, I think that you can make an argument of Billy being T2.
I think Billy is T2. Currently.
Billy Mains be putting in that work with that nigga.
Yeah.
It be shit that you don't understand why he clearing, but he clearing.
Mm-hmm. You said worse? No, I don't agree, Mo. If I didn't see the stuff that I see with Billy Mains, I'd agree. But like and I know you guys have seen the gameplay for it.
What we got left?
Grace.
Let me see.
Which, I mean, for me, Grace is a main DPS. I don't even think she is a main DPS.
Oh, no.
All right, so I'm just
I
not
don't
even
know
gonna
what that
bother
is.
categorizing her in main DPS.
I think when
I
it
was about
comes
say
to a
Piper.
character's M0 performance, for the remaining ones we have, I think Billy and maybe Corrin are like the only two that I will move up to T2 because I think probably one has them at T3. I think they would be the only two that I would move them up.
I think Corrin's tier 3.
I mean, I can't argue. I don't have much to argue about Corrin. I just see similar to Billy Mains, Corrin Mains. They be putting in work with her. I'm not a Corrin. We at the point right now we get into characters I ain't aficionado with. So it's that the chart. It's mostly the chat arguing for that. If I'm not gonna lie.
For Corrin, are you guys arguing for Corrin? I'm not arguing about Corrin, chat. That's on y'all. If y'all want to do that, you think she's low tier 2?
I was gonna say I can't speak on Corrin, but I think she's better than Nekomata.
Okay,
At least at M6.
Anton.
And Anton's
I
like
think solid
right in between. He's like either top of M3 or right at the bottom of T2.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I think Anton in the dirt.
He ain't worse than Neko. And you know,
bro. I don't know.
It's only because of one thing, Astra. That's why he has to partner tag. Have you seen the quick assist damage that he gets with Astra?
Nah. I haven't even looked at it. Because I'm always like concerned with like, all right, how fast did he clear? But I guess looking at the damage,
bro,
might be
with Astra, you just spam quick. You don't do nothing else with that brother. You get him to go into his second form, and you just spam quick assist. And so he's energy efficient in his second form, and he's doing a boatload of damage with them quick assists. Bro, he is getting hyper carried to hell right now.
Damn.
That's the only reason. That is the only reason why he's better than Neko at T0. He's getting hyper carried to hell with fucking Astra and Nicole.
All right. Fine. So we can leave it at that. I feel like the main DPS pretty.
Oh yeah, he's also completely invisible with his quick assist.
True. Yeah, I think main DPS is fine. You know, I think we did a pretty good job on this one. Sub DPS, which shouldn't be too much. Just like what, 5 characters? Okay.
Easy placement. Top Vivian.
Tier 0 Vivian.
Yep. Put her up.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
0.5,
This
0.5?
is where, this is where that versatility comes in with Yanagi.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, just because of strong off-field application and how great she is, Bernice is definitely above Yanagi for a sub DPS, but Yanagi ain't too far behind.
Yeah. And I guess if we're counting it as like just a sub DPS, by default, Bernice would be tier 0.5 because there's nobody else.
Yeah.
But like,
because she's just Vivian before Vivian.
Yeah. But I wouldn't go as far to say like Bernice is a tier 0.5 character anymore. If anything, she's a tier 1 character. But I get what you mean here. I can definitely understand what you're doing.
Nagi is the sort of guy. Yeah. The only reason I don't put Nagi over Bernice is because Bernice can easily fit onto a lot of different anomaly teams a lot easier than Nagi, just because it just depends on the character specifically. Like I said, even though Jane and Nagi can work together, you would still rather have Jane and Bernice. That is still a much more comfortable team for Jane overall. Just because Jane would just much more rather have the field time. Like I said earlier, it's not because Jane Nagi is a great team. It's because Nagi's able to trigger disorders, allows her to drag Jane by her feet when she's underperforming.
I can agree with you on that.
I was gonna say, yeah, Flossin, what do you got to say before we start moving characters around?
Yeah, I was gonna say at first that I could argue to put Bernice in tier 1, like you said, but you know, after what Sol said, but the versatility of basically just doing your job consistently off field with everybody, it works with every anomaly agent. Yeah, I can agree with the 0.5.
Nick, you think Nagi tier 0? The same with Viv?
I want you guys to argue about it because like you already convinced me that Yanagi was 0.5 when I wasn't gonna put her in 0.5. But through all of that information, I would probably put her above Bernice.
I just want to know. No, I could be missing out on some things.
For me, the reason I think I would put Nagi over Bernice, but not in Vivian's tier, is because Vivian just kind of she blows up the board where you don't really have to play her, you don't have to do anything. Nagi being on every other anomaly team also blows up the board, but you have to do the work. You also have to change your build, but that's a
Nick, that don't tell me shit. Her being 0.5 still shows that she fucked up.
Okay, I can argue for both sides. If we want to lean more towards who's doing it the best, then I think Yanagi is. If we're leaning towards more versatility, like as far as like how many teams are available, I lean more towards Bernice.
Yeah.
So if we want to go power scaling, then I think I stick with my gut. I say Yanagi 0.5 and then Bernice tier 1.
She's ran with everyone.
I think Bernice gets you in the door as far as like an off-fielder, which is her biggest upside. But Yanagi is more where you start, I guess, manipulating the playstyle of Anomaly more. On top of her disorder buff, it's very good.
She is the sort of DPS. I agree. So okay, so I guess my question is that, so you think Nagi's performance is comparable with Vivian's, or would you just have her above Bernice? Because after hearing a better understanding, and frankly, after testing Bernice, it should have been clear to me that Nagi was better, because everything about Bernice's kit is not really anything tailored to buffing anybody else's performance as an anomaly unit. It's just she's everything about her kit is buffing herself. But because she has off-field application and she's able to build her anomaly while her teammates are attacking, it just makes her a great sub DPS because she's able to do her thing without getting in the way of anybody else's. But Yanagi is a direct buffer while also pretty much doing something similar. No, Nick, I'm not saying that they're the same, but I'm asking like performance-wise, because I don't, since I didn't pull Vivian, so after Vivian testing, I don't know the performance difference of having like Vivian on your team and Yanagi on your team. I don't know. I know they're both really strong and they're both good, and I know for a large portion of a lot of conversations, a lot of people highly suggest you having Vivian on a lot of anomaly teams as your sub DPS. And I know Yanagi is like normally in contention with that, but I don't know the overall difference. Vivian buff selfish anomaly, and only selfish anomaly right now is Jane.
I think Vivian did get or Bernice did get power creep by Vivian, but it's not really a power creep. It's like a rainbow, right? Like if you look at it, I know I make up terms. Bernice only being pyro, right? She only does fire. Vivian does ether, but it contributes towards everything. Like there isn't a specific you have to use this thing, or like it plays off of this or whatever. I don't know, it's weird. Vivian's also like slightly easier to play. I get it, Bernice, you come on the field, 1-2 tap and you're done, but there's meter management involved. Vivian's meter management is super simple. You don't really got to think about it. If I'm looking at this and listening to what you guys are saying, if anything, I'd probably say that Nagi is the bottom of tier 0 and Bernice is in the middle of tier 0.5 and tier 1. By default, she'd be in tier 0.5 just because people have no other option. But realistically, compared to these two characters, and from everything that you guys are saying, like even if we don't figure out whether or not Nagi's in tier 0, there's still a significant gap between these two characters and Bernice. As a sub DPS, Bernice and Nagi, that gap is big enough to be considered a whole tier from what I'm listening to. So wherever Nagi goes, Bernice has to go a tier beneath that. Nagi is tier 0.5 as main for sure, but you just can't say it's the same off field. Bernice always doing her thing off field. She's doing her damages without getting on the field. Yanagi's got to get on the field to do her thing.
The only issue with that sentiment is that the amount of time that Nagi needs to get on field to apply her anomaly is very minuscule in comparison to how fast Bernice builds up her anomaly off field.
I think we should probably also consider the fact that while yes, Bernice is building up the fire off field and it's a passive gain, Yanagi comes on the field and just blows somebody up. And then she does it a multitude of times, right? So where it's, I guess maybe the way that I would probably explain it is that Yanagi is more of a bursty instant kind of thingy, kind of character damage wise. Bernice is a DOT. She's like tick, 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 right? So you're playing time versus I want this to happen right now. And then another thing that I really enjoy about Yanagi, you control like how many times you want this thing to happen right now. So if I want to blow somebody up right now 3 times, I can do that. If I want to blow them up 4 times, I can do that. If I want to blow them up 6 times, I can do that, right? Like she does an absurd amount of damage in that instance if you manage her meter properly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, obviously, yeah. And like Mo says, we can't act like that. Bernice never has to come on the field. She still has to come back and reapply her burn at some point. Yeah. And the same amount of time that she's doing that, especially if Yanagi has the energy, she gets a shock off, and she gets a polarity disorder trigger normally within the same amount of time. So I guess I'm cool. I'm cool with Vivian and Yanagi being T1, and then I don't want to say Bernice is. I don't know. Did I say them T1? I meant Vivian and Yanagi T0, and I think it's fine to put Bernice 0.5 for now.
I don't even think she's tier 0.5.
I'm still going with my gut with tier 1.
I don't think she's 0.5.
I think
that's up. I ain't gonna argue it. That's on y'all.
Yeah, I still just think that like Bernice is just kind of that baseline anomaly character that you go to if you need an off fielder. It's consistent all around. It's kind of like Yuan, right? Like just throughout all the characters that have come out, Bernice is just consistent. Like I guess Vivian's the only character that has felt like a quote unquote power creep, but like Iyo said, it's not like a power creep. It's just like something different on the spectrum. As far as
because Bernice was never offering what Vivian was offering anyway, outside of being an off fielder.
Right. It's just like Vivian just says like, hey, I'm doing off field, but like on top of that, I'm buffing all the anomalies that we trigger with the blooms, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think tier 1 is good. And then,
yeah, I mean that's fine with me. That's T1 is not a bad character. That's still a strong character that you can use.
I just wouldn't put her in the same caliber as like, I guess comparing it to like, we have Yixuan in tier 0.5, right? There's no way I'm gonna say Bernice is close to like the influence or the impact that Yixuan brings. There's no way I'm gonna say that about Bernice. The same thing could be applied for Evelyn, right? There's no way I'm gonna say that Bernice's impact to a team would be the same as Evelyn's damage performance or the impact she brings for damage.
The issue is if you have Vivian or Yanagi as options, you are not picking Bernice 95% of the time. I mean, that's true. Because the only time I'm running Bernice is when I want to run her with Jane.
You said put Grace in tier 3 just to piss Venom off? All right, say less.
Yeah, Grace, we're dropping down a couple tiers. We're dropping
we ain't pissing Venom off. That bitch is ass.
I've tried my best to revive this character.
This is a character that needs Mindscapes. 100%.
Yeah.
She does need Mindscapes. All right, let me grab the stunners. Here's 0 for a stunner, though, bro. What are we doing here?
Why are you asking questions? You know the answer. It's one nigga.
Yeah, but like, what if,
It's one nigga.
All right.
I think there's only one agent that we can like possibly argue about with lighter, but I still don't think it's close.
Who?
Listen, I said
GG's,
I still don't think it's
Venom,
close.
GG's.
Who?
I was gonna pull out Trigger.
Yeah. No, shut that up.
Well, okay, to be fair, this is with her.
That was
her
the
engine.
only one.
Yeah. We count his engine too. The one that give you that fat ass crit damage buff for all his agents. Yeah, it still don't matter. Her ass is 0.5 at best. 0.5 at best.
Okay. So here, let me try and arrange a couple things here. Okay. Here's 0. We have lighter. I do believe that Trigger with her engine is tier 0.5. If we're like locking that in, right? I also think Qingyi is tier 0.5. I'm willing to listen to the argument and be convinced why you guys believe that Fufu, not including the partner tag, is tier 0.5. Because I believe if you glue her to Yixuan, then yeah, I'm gonna say that she's like 0.5. But without her being tied to Yixuan, I feel like there are other stunners you would use for the, I guess like the other variety of teams or the top teams that wouldn't be Fufu.
Yeah.
I think if you're any fire DPS, you're picking Fufu over Trigger.
Yeah, but then you're picking lighter over Trigger.
Yeah.
You mean you're picking lighter over Fufu?
You're picking lighter over Fufu too, yeah. So it's like
so
that's why
Trigger's your third. Trigger's your third option for those comps. I think her and Trigger are pretty similar in value on who you would pick for the ice units. I think the only other space that Trigger occupies that Jufufu doesn't is with anomaly teams. And I think even then, if we're doing that, it's too early to say now, but I'm not too pressed on arguing it, to be honest. At worst, I think Jufufu is a low 0.5. I think she's way better than both Poker and Lycan.
Okay, I could agree with that. Yeah.
Qingyi is 0.5. That's what she's supposed to be. Niggas was pushing this false agenda that Qingyi was so much worse than Trigger. We need to stop. Trigger's good. Her engine is great. So is Qingyi.
I think that decibel gain on Jufufu is far undervalued, especially in like long-term fights. Because whenever you play her, you start to realize just how many decibels you lose.
Without Jufufu, so, and I have to do more testing. I need to consult with other soldier players. Honestly, I think, because like for me, I think when it comes to performance, what I've been seeing with my own soldier, I prefer double stun with Jufufu lighter than lighter Astra with soldier. I end up performing better with that team over Astra. And I think it's mostly because of the additional crit damage and stuff that she gets from it. The boost to her chain attacks, because I don't know, Soldier's chain attacks is ass. So getting that chain attack ultimate with Astra didn't really do shit. But actually buffing the multiple, like the overall damage that her chain attacks does, feels a bit more substantial. And then a lot of times, especially like within like in-game content like DA, and even sometimes I'm able to get at least one extra ultimate off for so I can consistently have ultimate on every stun with soldier with having Jufufu on the team. And then I'm definitely racking up fucking ultimates with doing like Pompeii and stuff with her. And soldier's a part of the few DPS that, even though double stun for them is pretty fast, she has her manual timing, and she's able, and when I run swing on Jufufu, having energy for her available for stun window is not a problem at all.
Yeah, I don't have much else to add on to it.
All right, well, I mean, that's 2-1 right now, so you guys are both 0.5.
Yeah, but I'll say bottom 0.5. Bottom 0.5.
Fufu's fine, tier 1. I feel like she's tier 1, but that's why I say I'm willing to. Excuse me.
If y'all want to do tier 1, I ain't gonna be hurt about it.
No. That's why
I like the character.
There's 3 of us in here, so like if you guys both say tier 0.5, I'll slap her in tier 5. I'm not opposed to it.
I just don't think. I think she's a good much better than Poker and Lycan, in my opinion. Because I think Lycan's only value of being relevant right now is the fact that Hugo exists, and the whole thing with
Mono Ice.
But shoot, now with Yuzuha being here, it looks like he about to get kicked out the team.
Yeah, for sure. And so it's not that I think Jufufu's weak. I think she's an amazing character, especially as a stunner, and she provides a lot of support. My thing about Jufufu is kind of like, just like I mentioned earlier, is like, when would you use her over your other options? Like if we put everything on the table, right? Like when are you using her over your other options? And then you mentioned double stun, which I think double stun is like highly valuable too. But I feel like double stun is valuable for just a couple different characters or a couple of the characters. And yeah, her decibel gain is like really good, right? She gives you the ults back, but where are we right now?
They're slowly running into an issue with stunners and low-key supports, but they don't release supports enough. But they are releasing too many general stunners. And at some point, we need another stunner on the equivalent of lighter for other elements or whatever they want to do. Because having too many generalized stunners puts us in a position like this where their values are either too close or one of them doesn't provide enough to the point that, well, why did you release her? There was no reason to do this. Like if we get another general stunner after this, what the fuck they gonna do that I'm gonna need? that I'm gonna need to pull for them. If I have Trigger at Jufufu and I have lighter,
your ice res by instead of 25%, 27%.
It's no point. But if they have another unit that's like lighter, that's similar to what he does, fire and ice, but they do like physical and ether or physical and electric or something like that. If they have a more focused stunner like that, then I feel like they'll be a much better. Because I'm in the belief that a lot of the characters that I have like a more niche application of buffing, but their buffs are a lot stronger, it allows them to stand out a lot more than the monster cats. That's why I think Lighter is so strong. It's because they made his buff so good, even though he's a niche option. They predicated the fact that since he's such a niche stunner, they released so many characters centered around him because they know that they made him so strong that they don't have to release another version of him for a good while.
Yeah. So I guess what I'll do right, guys, is like it won't really matter to me personally. Fufu can be in 0.5 or tier 1. Doesn't matter too much to me, right? She can be in either little section here.
Yeah.
I think Ultra and Lycan are pretty much in the same tier. The only reason Lycan is above anyone, for that matter, even on Prywin's list, is literally because, like Sol said, Hugo and Mono Ice. Anby and Coleta. I mean, Anby's really not that far off from Coleta. I'm not gonna hold you guys. Like, I know some people might say, like, oh man, what you know, Anby and Coleta are saying that. They both do exactly what you want them to do, which is like stun really fast. Coleta stuns faster, but they don't. Neither of them give you any buffs. You literally just have a stunner. I guess she gives you chain attack buffs, but you know.
That's my only thing I would say is that I feel like that Coleta stuns so much faster that I would probably put them a tier apart from each other. Other than that, yeah, they both fall on the same issue as that. They're older stun units, so they aren't following the new path that stunners are going. Whereas that they're stunners, but they're also supports.
Yeah.
And since they don't really support anybody, or like their support, like I think Anby's her M2 is like she buffs electric damage or something, but like 10%. That shit's so small. Nobody don't care about that. And then the fact that Coleta can only buff chain attack damage within stun or some shit like that. And so, because Evelyn can't take advantage of the chain attack buff that she provides outside of stun, it makes her kind of worthless, because we have characters that increase the stun damage multiplier at a lot more severe rate than what she does off her additional ability. So she's just there for the hard hitting stuns. Yeah. Outside of that, she whatever at M0.
Gotcha. Can you tell chat why Qingyi is where she is? She was the best stunner in the game. Now she's top 3. What's her multiplier? 75% or something like that? 85%? Fuck, I gotta do math. I don't want to do math, bro. I'm not gonna hold you. Chat, I'm not doing math. I'm cooked right now. We've been here for 5 hours.
The only thing I would say, the only downside for Qingyi when it comes to her performance as a stunner is that she's heavy on field. But whenever she's paired with units that don't mind doing majority of the damage within the burst window, she's one of the best stunners that you can have.
Yeah.
And so far with the game, they've been pretty balanced. Especially when it comes to our attacks, they've been pretty balanced on providing a mixture of characters that want to be on field and want to be only within like burst windows. And so that's where her that's where she continues to hold value, in my opinion. And she builds stun super fast.
Yeah. Okay. 80. All right. Yeah. So that's what it is. So 80%. Okay. So she gives 80% stun multiplier. Stuns incredibly fast for what she has. She's able to play not necessarily on and off field. That's not what I mean when I say this, but she's able to not take up as much field time that you would think due to her bow staff, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move that she has, because you can play around that. She also opens the door.
You get a quick dodge off.
Mm-hmm.
Get that max stacks.
She opens the door for you guys to have different types of play styles, right? Like you can still be aggressive and play your attack, but similar to kind of things that I tell you guys with Seth is like you can turn your defense into offense. Okay, so Qingyi is turning her offense is defense, if that makes sense. Like because she's so offensive and she allows the team to be so offensive, the defensive part kind of just doesn't matter. It's weird in my head, guys. Relax on me, all right? 5-hour stream. But beyond that point, everything that you guys say Trigger does, Qingyi just does it without being off field, but she still provides more of a buff. You don't get the defense shred that you get, but that's only from Trigger's W engine. But then if we're counting Qingyi's W engine, the Ice Jade Teapot, that still gives you a significant damage boost on top of whatever build you're running in the first place. Qingyi is just a huge damage amp, stuns incredibly fast, and helps out whatever team she's a part of. All electric units benefit from having Qingyi on the team. Yuan still has that. I think there's some talk now, I think Mo mentioned it, about Fufu possibly being Yuan's new best in stun slot. I don't know. I can't argue that because I haven't even heard anybody talk about. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've never heard anybody talk about.
When I tested that shit, I did double stun. I didn't test her by herself, so I got to see how that is. That sounds interesting.
Like Qingyi is fucked up as a character. You guys think that she's only supposed to be with like Yuan or whatever. That's not true. Or even Harumasa. It's not true. If we're
two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, two sides. If you guys were gonna argue me down about like why Fufu isn't anyone's best in slot except Yixuan, but she still deserves tier 0.5, the same argument could be had for Qingyi, except she works with everybody. What is that? Yeah, Evelyn, Qingyi, Yanagi, Qingyi, Yixuan and Qingyi. We literally have teams right now killing with Yixuan And Qingyi.
How about say we got double stunned with fucking Fufu, Qingyi, and Yixuan.
She works with Miyabi. She can work with Jane. She works with Ellen. She works with Hugo. She works with Haru. She works with Yuan. She works with Anby. I guess she could work with Piper, but I probably wouldn't care to use that. She works with Soldier. She works with Billy. Yeah, Qingyi works with everyone, almost everyone.
Only ever downside is elemental resistances.
Tell you who Qingyi
like
is best
specifically
in slot for Harumasa and Yuan if you're talking about a best in slot. And then it's arguable for her to be with Yixuan now. Because even though Fufu is supposed to be Yixuan's like best stunner or like preferred stunner, Qingyi is providing similar if not better results depending on the Yixuan, the build, so on and so forth. So you could also argue that Qingyi is now Yixuan's best in slot stunner. Like that, just because that character's not brand new and you guys don't see a lot. One, because you guys didn't pull her, or two, because you don't play the character or see it. That does not suddenly mean the character just loses value. Those are lower tier DPSs. Yixuan's the second best DPS in the game. You gonna tell me she's lower tiered? Come on, bro. There's no way we're doing that.
Even with that sentiment, even though there are lower tier DPS, it's not all directly about damage and those characters' performance. It's about her overall flexibility and utility throughout the cast.
I also think Chad is undervaluing 80% multiplier. Like that is a very big multiplier. I understand that we get the constant 35 with trigger, but if we're still playing these burst DPS like Yuan, like it is literally night and day the amount of damage output that Yuan does, at least in the stun window, if we have Qingyi versus trigger. Or well, I guess if trigger has her engine, then it's still better.
Them two with their engines, trigger is slight. It's a bit better than Qingyi because her engine is just freaking cracked. It's Nicole in a bottle.
Yeah.
So it just is what it is.
But let's jump over to support.
Yeah. So let's move on from stuff. So I think we're good.
Astra and Yuzu. I know that was something that I was talking about with my chat earlier. So I got to kind of like briefly go over that with them. But TLDR, I feel like Yuzu giving the same attack buff as Astra, but not providing the quick assist, that would be something that's like, notable, worth mentioning. But I think Yuzu as a whole is just way more versatile at this point. And it's only been she's only been out for like 4 days or something like that, a week. And players are already finding very strong builds and combos and strategies to use her in non-anomaly teams. And she does her own forms of damage. I think this character steers her up.
Oh yeah. I think these characters are two sides of the same coin. They share similarities, but they offer unique strengths that allow them to be valued and rivaled against one another.
Yeah, I think Yuzuha opens up more fun possibilities while also still being consistently strong as a T0 character.
If they didn't give her the flavor match thing, which allows her to match the other character's attribute, I probably would have put it at 0.5.
Yeah.
But they gave her that plus the buffs with to everything anomaly based. And she's a generalist similar to Astra. It's kind of hard to say that she's not T0, especially after testing a lot of performances. Even though it's like you find some teams that Astra edge her out in, and you find some teams that Yuzuha edge her out in. It's like they're pretty interchangeable. Well, not interchangeable, but they both share strong enough value that it's pretty fair to put them on a similar pedestal with one another.
Yep. I like that you mentioned the matchup thing too, because it definitely represents like where the game has been going, but like it's really starting to solidify itself right now, where some matchups of some enemies are literally just better to fight with certain characters than others.
That was like one of the main things I praised with Yuzuha is that one of the issues with Bernice in that Jane comp is that sometimes Jane especially if you're a good Jane, you triggering physical way too fast for Bernice, and Bernice can't keep up. But you slap on Yuzuha for Bernice and help her amplify that fire, nigga, disorder's going out the window.
Okay, so I think we're all in agreement on that then, which is really good. I feel like we shouldn't even have to argue Nicole being tier 0.5 anymore.
If anybody arguing that still, that's crazy. This is free Astra.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. Free Astra.
This is free Astra. This is a character that originally, for the most part, I know, especially because this was Rihu was still doing Zenless on me, Iyo, Rihu. We figured that Nicole was strong, but nobody would have ever expected her to be as strong as she is now. That she continuously maintained her spot of being one of the best supports in the game.
Yeah, she's good, man.
I'd argue she's T0. The only reason I can't say she's T0 because her overall utility in comparison to Yuzuha and Astra isn't as large. Yuzuha and Astra just offers so much more then Nicole, that it's hard to put her on the same pedestal as them.
Yeah.
But the things that she do offer is really strong that allows her to be a great secondary option if you don't have either of them.
I'd argue she's tier 0 for a free-to-play player. Like, if I was just straight up free-to-play and I had no interest in Yuzuha, but I really wanted Astra or whatever, I would have to make a conscious decision to keep using Nicole or spend the currency on Astra. And it's almost to a point where you can get away with just not pulling Astra. Like, I get it, Astra adds so much value to somebody's account, but the option is like, get better at the game naturally, like learn how to play the game better, or pull Astra, right? So you're telling me that I could save 180,000 polychrome, however much it is. I can save that, or just play better. Like by playing better, I can save 180. I'm playing better and I'm saving the 180K, bro. It is what it is. Someone asked earlier why Lucy and Soukaku were where they were. So Soukaku is not a 0.5 character. The only reason she's a 0.5 character on like Pridewind, for instance, is because there's a lot of value going around, like a lot of hype for Mono Ice. Mono Ice is broken. It's amazing. That doesn't make Soukaku as a single support character tier 0.5. That makes her an amazing character for Miyabi in that particular team. Lucy is better than Soukaku. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Lucy's better than Soukaku because she's a general attack buffer across the entire board. She doesn't have a specific requirement to get this attack buff. It's any DPS in the game is gonna be able to value that attack buff.
Oh, isn't Soukaku's the same?
Soukaku is the same, but then where's the rest of her value coming from?
But I guess I kind of argue the same with Lucy, because Lucy's value is her attack buff.
Yeah,
but
what else are you doing with Soukaku?
Soukaku's attack buff is stronger.
What are you doing with Soukaku after that though? The ice, the frost, or freezing? I guess like the heavy parry. The heavy parry is pretty cool. I like that. But at what point would you be building Soukaku?
Outside of Mono Ice, right?
Yeah, outside of Mono Ice. Like when would you be building Soukaku as your support over Lucy, given the option that you have both to choose from?
Or the general attack buff. I think the general, at least for me, the argument with the general attack buff is a little disingenuous just because they both offer that. But I guess like it's easier to apply Lucy's and Soukaku's, but Soukaku's is larger and I believe it lasts longer. I guess like a stronger argument would be that another strong thing about Lucy is that her DPS is a bit more. I won't say it's a bit more substantial, but it's a lot easier since she's a lot more consistent with applying her buffs and opening up windows like for chain attacks. And then of course the people doing the extra tech would get like an extra chain attack or something in with Lucy. Her DPS contribution is pretty substantial. So I know people like talk about like DPS Soukaku, but a lot of times in my opinion, when you're dedicated Soukaku to being DPS Soukaku, it's more of it's a little less focused on her being the support of the team and her literally being the DPS of the team. While Lucy, she's like she plays like a sub DPS role, where she's like you pop EX, you pop ultimate, the ultimate hitting for a couple mil, shit hurt. But I wasn't trying to like argue against that. Lucy was better or worse than Soukaku, but more so that the I guess like I didn't necessarily agree with like the buffs their attack buffs themselves being the reasoning.
Yeah, that's fair. The last one though is Rina. I think Rina she got really gassed up. Yeah, I think she got gassed up for miasma because the whole like penetration stuff, which like that's good, but I don't think people took into account the factor of like actually playing Rina. And it's not even that Rina is difficult to play, it's that she's super tedious and like it's a heavy meter management, I will say that. And even then Rina has a little bit of tech to her, like after she uses her, what is it, the chain attack or the quick assist, you dash cancel it instead of doing the follow-up attack, because the follow-up attack takes too long and the quick assist will never trigger until the final hit. But if you dash it and then do it, then it triggers instantly.
Yeah, I'd even say that, and I know we're not arguing for it, but even M1 Rina, it's just very tedious. Yes, it doubles the extension, but like you have to really want to play Rina for her to work. It is very annoying. And when we consider M0 at this point, I can't even recommend it. I only recommend copies of Rina, but yeah.
If these are like mindscapes with Rina, I'd consider it. And especially like I think M6 just turns into a straight up damage dealer.
Rina ain't worth it till you get that M1. She not bad though.
Yeah.
She just
put her on the shelf till you get it.
Tier 2, tier 1.5. Yeah. high tier 1.5 with M1. I can see that. Yeah, Rina's so easy to play. I think the only people that think Rina are easy to play are people that actually like play Rina. And by that point, that's kind of like me saying Harumasa is so easy to play, right? But then you got to think about it like, oh, you're a Harumasa main, not me. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna listen to a Harumasa main tell you Harumasa is easy to play, and you know that's not true.
Yeah, like in the grand scheme, Rina isn't like extremely difficult, but when you compare her to literally every other support in the game, I won't say a lot harder, but it's a bit more to manage her buff uptime. That's why everybody always suggests, because I'm pretty sure M1 helps with that.
Yeah, M1 helps with that. It allows you to like not be on the field as long with Rina and focus more on your DPS. So I get it. I get what you're saying. Like, you know, she comes out and just does like a couple button taps and then you're done. And while you're not wrong, you're correct in the actual, like the physical thing that she does. Yes. Now apply it. This is where the problem would come into play, right? And let's say that you're playing a team where that buff needs to be in between your rotations. So if I'm doing even, you know what? Because it's just right here, Anby, and then we have Trigger, and then we have Rina. If I'm playing the game, right, I'm on Anby. I'm doing whatever it is that I want to do, which is, let's just say mashing, right? I'm blah, 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 blah. I'm mashing. At some point, I have to come out and I have to get triggers, you know, actions going on. And I also have to come out here and then get Rina on the field as well, right? Mind you, I need to play around everyone's quick assist. My Anby still needs to be on the field dishing out whatever her damage is. And I still need to build up this particular meter and then cash out. It's not about her being physically hard to play. That's what I was saying. It's not that she's hard to play because like, oh man, it takes so much of my brain power to execute these super hard combos. It's tedious because I have to sit here and play meter management with 3 different meters. I have to play meter with whatever my main DPS is, and I have to time the actual buff uptime around that main DPS while still finding a way to use whatever stunner I have. I just happen to pick the one that's off field with Trigger, but Trigger, all of her animations take up time, right? This takes up time. And then because I'm quick assisting, I've got to go back here. I got to go do this. Got to go back in Arena. I got to do her little thing. Got to go back here. It's more time consuming than it is you doing those things. And it's like, it's so easy. It's like clockwork. It's not like that. You don't really need the meter. You want Rina's meter. Yeah, her puppet, the timer, you absolutely want that. That's like that's the only reason you play Rina is the puppet.
It's not a mechanical factor as far as like the player playing. It's more game sense. And I guess I can lean into this more because I've tried to revive Rina and Grace. I had a Miyabi team with them both, and what a lot of Rina came down to was just being aware of the puppet, right? And it sounds pretty easy. Oh, okay, you just like you said, you quick assist, you throw out the puppet and you go away. But in practice, when you're doing it, like in Deadly Assault, with that specific team, Miyabi and Grace, you're trying to apply both of their anomalies while also remembering to bring in Rina. And a lot of the things that I ran into with running that specific team was I'll do my hold basic and I'll look in the top left and I'll realize that I forgot to pull Rina out for this hold basic. And that is like majority of Miyabi's damage right there. So it's like whenever I see that, I just insta reset. It's super annoying playing Rina.
Yeah.
And my Rina's M1. So it's like I can't even imagine M0.
Yeah, like it's that's why we're repeating it at this point because like and that's why I said earlier, it's like a Harumasa main telling you that Haru is easy to play, right? They're gonna tell you every reason under the sun as to like it's super easy to learn Harumasa, bro. Yes, this is true, but not everybody is in the same thing that I tell Nix that all the time, right? Like the way he plays, he's like an execution god at a lot of things. Not everybody that you're talking to is an execution god, and when that comes into play, especially pertaining to Arena, it's not an easy to play thing. Like, yeah, okay, come out and press one button. And like I said, press one button and then now tell them when to press the button, right? If I gave you a combo or a notation list of the combo input and I gave that to a player and they read, okay, come out and press one button every X amount of seconds while still doing the combo that you needed to do, don't lose track of your meter, keep up with the game. And the fact that this isn't like, okay, like Genshin, right? Genshin, the enemies are very stoic, that they're not really fighting back all of the time. In Zenless, not only am I trying to pay attention to my own meter, I'm trying to pay attention to what the enemy is doing. So I have to be like parries on point, dodges on point, things like that. I also need to pay attention to my rotations and my combos. And then I got to pay attention to where the stun is, the electric anomaly. Like there's a bunch of other meter that goes into that. It's not a, hell no, it's not easier than Nicole. Nicole, I see purple energy, I come out, I click button, and I leave the field. Half the time, you don't even have to bring her out. You bring, because it lasts so long, and you're building it up so fast with that particular team or the team that you're deciding to play, that you literally swing her out during stun, she melts the bar, and then it dies. That's it. She's about the same as Nicole. You guys are the first ones telling me that. I've never seen that. Not even the Rina mains have never told me that. So y'all are actually the first to tell me something like that, which you're gonna have to show it to me.
It's just gonna be a disagreement because as many people as I've at least done content for this game long enough and seen many people give back feedback on Rina as casual players or just people new to the game, and even up until like people that's been playing the game for a few months now, Rina is viewed as as a difficult support. That's just a tag that she's going to have by her. You can preach how easy she is in the grand scheme, but for the most part, most players aren't going to agree. Like most of us don't think that Rina is hard. Most of us can probably pretty much play Rina pretty well, but when it comes to squeezing her in a lot of your rotations, depending on the units that you're using, a lot of people doesn't find her natural flow of rotations and other characters simple to control and consistently do.
You get the pin buff without meter. Yeah, you get the pin buff without meter. There's each one of her moves gives you a different timer. But and again, that's something that the game doesn't teach you. We talk about this all the time, but you know, the different timer thing, that you don't learn that in the game. There's nowhere in the game that tells it to you. We only know it because someone decided to test it. And even then, I don't know how they figured that out, because like, why would you test that if there's no indication of it? But the last of it, right, the list, defense. Caesar, we don't really have to argue about. She's just kind of there, right? Defense tier 0, she's the best of the best when it comes to that category. Seth, Pan, and Ben.
Seth, Pan.
People aren't gonna like what I have to say about Seth because it doesn't have to do with damage. I think that interrupt is highly undervalued by players.
Hell yeah. Where you putting Seth?
Like, I would, in comparison to Caesar, I'd put him at the top of tier 1. I don't know how to argue him for 0.5, but high tier 1.
Okay.
I think when you learn this character and the things you can get away with as far as like interrupting, like I don't want to over exaggerate, but it's like mono ice, whoever you're fighting, that
they don't get to play the game.
They don't get to play.
Exactly.
They never get to play. They never get to play.
Yep.
It does take more work to do. It's kind of like the same thing as Rina. It's more work. I mean, like, you just walk in and they don't hit you. I don't know. I think Seth is really good.
Yeah. What's the criteria for defense? I don't necessarily have a criteria for defense. I mean, these are just what the characters are, like their class, their role, right? Because every defensive agent isn't just a support. And just like we were talking about with Seth with like the anti-interrupt, not every stunner has as much or even the capability of doing that at all for the most part. But then we have Pan. Pan doesn't play like the other two, right? Pan does not play like Seth, and he does not play like Caesar. Pan functions way more as a support character than anything else. But because he's not on par with a lot of the other supports, especially from a general standpoint, I don't think it'd be fair to compare him to those supports. I don't know. It's defense agents are really weird in that regard, where like they kind of just do everything without doing something at the same time. None of these motherfuckers have damage except Ben. But yeah, see, and even then, like, Ben has a parry, Ben has damage, guaranteed crits, he can burn. I don't know if maybe the Ben mains though, I don't know if he can function as an anomaly unit or not. But then Seth works as a stunner, right? You can squeeze him in the middle of your anomaly teams. He has high interrupt. He gives a huge anomaly boost to the entire team. He can shield the entire team, which The only other shielder in the game, correct me if I'm wrong, is Caesar. So Seth is the only one that can give your entire team a
We
shield.
got Ben's. Here's his ass.
Oh, and Ben, yeah, and Ben. He got that very tiny sliver of a shield.
It's like non-existent.
Problem that's been wrong for months now. That man not a support. That man is a DPS. He is a defensive unit that is a DPS. Ben goal is to do damage.
That boy be
he provides a crit.
Thing,
he provides a crit rate buff. Sure.
For him.
That's cool. But if you look at everything tailored to his kit, all of his mindscapes, everything regarding around Ben is mostly to buff his own DPS.
Yeah. Whereas Ben's at the bottom until we figure out where he's going.
For Seth T1 makes sense.
Seth only shields 1 unit. So this is where tech comes into play. When you would, again, learning the game, right? Understanding like a higher level, Seth can shield both units if you utilize the tech. So something that like not every character has the ability to do it, but they can manipulate chain attacks, or rather they can manipulate the effects of a chain attack. So if you do his finisher and the finisher starts a chain and you send it forward instead of backwards, he will shield the incoming character, because the properties of his finisher move is to shield whoever's coming in after it, right? So then they get the shield, the main DPS has the shield, he has the shield, now everybody got plus 1 million AP.
And I think a lot of people, because even myself forgets to remember is that his BA isn't the his whole basic attack isn't the only way you apply shield. Neither his chain attack. I think a lot of people forget that his defensive assist follow up triggers his quick assist that also grants them the shield. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot easier to add the shield on to both units on your team than what most people expect. But I think the general idea for when introducing the character for the team was just to make it very simple to consume, that you mostly prioritize adding the shield to one unit, but you can add it to both.
Yeah,
and it is pretty strong once you effectively do it.
No, keep going.
We can shift back to Seth once he finds it. But Pam, that man is only good because of Yixuan.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'm okay with Pan. The only thing I'm worried about is the release of more Rupture, because I think he could be okay for Rupture, right? Like he's the only support agent that we have for Rupture, right? It's very obvious they want us to play Pan. It's just, yeah, like you said, it's only Yixuan right now. Like he only has one teammate. If you have both, great. If you don't, you never play this character ever.
Yeah, very valid. And yeah, I just linked you guys the Seth guide that I made. It's like a mini Seth guide because I wasn't going over everything, but the thing that I just explained to you that you guys are asking about, it's in there. And then a couple other things are in there as well, as far as that goes. Deadly Assault, we'll probably do that for our next time, but I don't really know if there's too many changes. Like now that I actually put out the list, I don't know if I disagree with Pride Wins as far as like separating Deadly Assault and Shiyu defense, because it's almost the same.
The only ones that I say that drops down, that I know for a fact that goes down, DA, is
Qingyi, Hugo. I think
Hugo.
Both of those would go down a tier, but everyone else for the most part stays the same. And in Deadly Assault, okay, wait, Deadly Assault, I think Seth jumps up.
I haven't played him enough in DA, but I could see it.
Yeah, but then I would have to think about the criteria, right? Is the criteria for Deadly Assault like how they function, like how they perform, or is it just who gives you bigger number? Because if that's the case, then the only ones that matter are the ones on the top row. Maybe the ones in like 0.5. No one else matters.
Yeah, I don't think there's like that large of a difference between performance of characters within and IDA. I think there's like a lot of niche instances where most of the time it's like some characters end up performing a bit worse depending on the boss. And that's what normally like Qingyi and Hugo issue is. Depending on the boss, they perform a bit worse. Like Qingyi isn't a terrible unit to use in DA at all, but you understand like how fast she's able to stun that. You understand her primary application of wanting to be on field is within like shorter content.
Yeah, Bernice should go up with the introduction of Yuzuha. Give me until Alice drops, and then I'll probably
we gotta look more into that,
because I do want to test out Alice, Bernice, and Yuzuha. But the only reason that Bernice is here is because wherever you could place Bernice, Vivian probably slots in better. And then if Vivian doesn't slot in better, and I wanted like more hyper aggression, then Yanagi is right there. So it's really hard to make this argument right now for Bernice.
Yeah, not to mention that they cooked her on a new DA boss because it's fire resistant.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, the new DA boss is fire resistant.
Yeah, Ben's like tier 2, tier 3 guys, something like that. I don't
Ain't-
play enough Ben.
Ain't nobody,
to know.
ain't nobody arguing Ben to be higher.
Yeah, like, I don't
even
know
the
enough
Ben
about
mains
Ben,
know he
bro.
not. Even the Ben mains know he not that great. They just love him.
Yeah, it's just the problem of being the jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Man, but Jack of all trades, he just a DPS. Them buffs is garbage.
guys. That's funny though. Hold tight, I'm a Ben main. We knew about you. It is what it is. But yeah, I think this is a pretty solid list all the way around. I'll work on it and I'll probably ask you guys like for other stuff, or I might listen back to the stream. And guys, what I'll try and do, like I said, before I release this, like it'll come out. I want to write down some notes. Maybe like I'll make a separate page. I'll ask Tudzi if he doesn't mind like helping me out with like creating a separate page and stuff like that. And then that way some of the answers will just be in that page, right? Like why this is placed where it is, or why this character does whatever they do. I'll try and fill in the blanks for them and then kind of go from there. And then maybe this will just be the document that we work on forever. I don't know. Over time, I'm sure we'll pretty it up or something, but it is what it is. But yeah, I don't know, dude. Guys, thank y'all for hanging out with me today. I appreciate that.
That was good. That was good.
For sure, for sure.
Yep. Very fun, very fun.
Oh yeah, you like yapping?
I love yapping. I love yapping.
Good shit, good shit. Well, all right, guys. I am gonna get out of here for the day. Thank y'all for joining me in the call. I'm gonna mute up real quick so I can end it with them. And then
Yeah, no problem.
I'm gonna
Do your
undeath.
thing.
For sure, for sure.